All right, so hopefully this will be a short one, and I mean, if you don't get it, it's so ten did a video um, talking about one of my videos, and or I guess a couple, I don't know, and so I felt that may as well just respond to it. I should respond to it. And I'm just gonna say a couple things real quick. I don't want to do Vegas anymore, man. I really didn't want to get re-involved in this shit. But I am trying to get through the FOIA. Once I get through the FOIA, I'll figure out whether I'm going to continue this madness or not. Um, I will say it's very frustrating dealing with a lot of this stuff. It's been fairly frustrating. It's been very frustrating. And, because when you're dealing with people and their opinions, and I've been trying to get a little more, you call sensitive to people's opinions and, whatever. And, you know, trying to be a little more personable, friendly, whatever you call it. And so, I don't know why I'm putting that in this video, but I figure might as well because I really don't want to make too many more of these videos, man. I'm really getting tired of the Vegas stuff, and it really burns you out when you're still seeing the same crap. Um, 5 years later, 5 years later, we still got the same bullshit, the same garbage. And I'm sorry, man. I don't want to shit on people. I don't want to do that anymore. I really don't. But sometimes it gets really difficult, man. When you go into a thing and you see a bunch of people saying some stupid shit that just it doesn't make any sense and it's easily debunked. You get to a point where you just don't want to you just want to say something, right? And but if you say something, of course, you're gonna come off like a prick. And generally I don't care for the most part, but I'm trying not to do that, right? I just don't want to do that, man. I really don't. So, you know, that has nothing to do with the video 10 did, right? So this is kind of more or less a response, but again, I wanted to get that out of the way because once I do this FOIA thing, if unless there's something new that comes out, I really don't want to do this anymore. I mean, I don't. I don't. Watching all this crap, watching watching the garbage, and I get it. I mean, I didn't build this channel to have a million people watching me talk, and there's a reason. There's actually a good reason why. I don't have very many viewers. I mean, obviously because watching videos and reading shit is not very exciting for most people. What was exciting was the drama back in the day, but I don't want to do the drama anymore, and I don't want to really. I was doing the video. Most of these videos are done for my own personal benefit, right? It's my own personal, you know, log of what I've gone through and what I've been, where my head's at a particular time. But I just don't really, I don't really feel like it's getting anywhere. I don't feel like it's moving the needle. I don't feel like it's progressing. Watching the same bullshit over and over, man. I mean, pretty much have a good idea of what the fuck happened, in and around that venue at this point. And most of the most of the stuff. I mean, a lot of the written stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of it. All right. So with that being said, here's the deal. 10. Here's the deal. This FOIA was not mine. This is not one of the ones that I put in for. I put in for a bunch of them, and I put in for some of this actual information, which I basically got the middle finger back from it. But if you go to, and here's how you can find it, right? I believe LVSA has a link for this. I'm not sure. It might be on his community tab. I honestly, I haven't checked because I've been reading this straight from this site, from the FBI site directly. So I'm going to explain it. If you go to the FBI vault, so this is vault.fbi.gov, or just type in FBI Vault in the search engine of your choice, and it will come up. So when you get to this, you don't even have to search for this, right? All you have to hit is the recently added. You go to the recently added. Yeah, I don't care about your feedback. I don't know why the FBI wants my feedback for this because that's stupid. Anyway, so you go to this now. Recently added. We got all the stuff that got added fairly recently. Hillary Clinton, man, you'll like that one. But then you go down here at the bottom. You got Stephen Paddock, and you got Stephen Paddock Part One .pdf. That is where you're going to find this. Again, I think LVSA has this now. This was again not my FOIA. I'm not the one who put in for this particular one. From what I understand, the person who put in for this particular one, according to the numbers on this FOIA, was Michelle, and Michelle was not notified that this went into the vault. So there was a little bit of confusion at the beginning, but um, supposedly, or well, according to her, these are the numbers that were part of her FOIA. And this was supposed to be a big one, I guess. They promised her, I don't know, 14,000 pages on this thing. This thing's like 341, I believe. And so, yeah, all you got to do is just click on that link. That'll bring you right to it. And that's the last, what, 2 videos I've been doing. That's what I've been reading from. That's basically how you find it. That's what you that's where you get that from. So that's the idea, bro. You know, everybody else, like I said, this was just this meant as a reaction. Well, not a reaction. I don't know. I don't know how to say this, man. I just watched. I just happened to look up, Tent's channel today, and saw that he did a video with my name in it. So of course, I always react or say something when someone uses my name. That's kind of always been my thing. And so he did. And and I understand that, of course, a lot of this we've been talking about this for a couple days now, and this was well, for a couple weeks now, I think. And I think originally we brought this out on well, Michelle brought it out on Truth Seeker stream, and I know there's probably some bad blood there, so you don't want to deal with Truth Seeker stuff. But basically what you're watching is you're watching me go over this myself, and what I'm digging through this, what I'm getting from this. And and I'll be honest, like, so far, I've read through the whole entire thing, and I'll tell you this, man, since you haven't been probably watching a lot of this stuff, um you will find a catalog, which I know you were into those back in the day, the inventory list. They do have an inventory list in here. It's very interesting. Um, and it's not complete, obviously, because there is no clothing. There's a lot of things that are missing from this inventory list, but there is an inventory list within this FOIA here, and I believe it's for all this inventory. I don't know. It seems like, and I don't know because I just don't know, but it seems like this stuff was the stuff that was sent to the lab for various testing, processing, probably fingerprints, stuff like that, so forth, so on. But one thing that was interesting in the uh, itemization of what they had here, as far as uh, whatever they were processing for the lab, or whatever the inventory list they have here, whatever that entails. There is an actual earplugs. So that's something everyone's been talking about. Everybody's kind of mystified by the earplugs, and I get it. That's kind of a weird thing, right? He had earplugs, but he didn't use them. He didn't use them because they're buried in a suitcase in the bedroom, and you probably couldn't find them, which calls into question whether or not this was spontaneous or whether this was planned out, at least spontaneous in the timing, or you know whether it's planned out in the actual timing. I think I seem to settle more on spontaneous because, I mean, the timing of 10:05 really doesn't mean much to anything, and he started shooting in, what, the third or fourth song. I don't even remember anymore. But that doesn't mean much of anything unless he just didn't like that particular song. It's just weird. So I always lean more towards this was kind of a, this was a planned out event, but it was spontaneous in its initiation of when it started. The But yeah, you'll find all that stuff in there. But yeah, everybody's really dead set on the earplugs. But I think the big thing that I've found from this, and I'm gonna say this, man, we actually agree. We agree completely. And you're actually in your headspace, in the video that I just watched, is the exact same as my headspace with this. It's very, I think it's very important. It's a very interesting thing. I think that's the most interesting thing within this, as far as the Tropicana, right? So he stayed at Tropicana from the 12th to the 14th, right? He stayed what, 12th, 13th, 14th, 3 nights. Seems like. I mean, it could have been 2 nights, I guess, and they could just be saying he checked out on the 14th, but it doesn't matter. He stayed a couple days at the Tropicana. The length of the stay doesn't even really matter to me. The ideology here, though, is interesting because on September 29th, or September 9th, I'm sorry, September 9th of 2017, Paddock, Stephen Craig Paddock, you like to say his full name, Paddock. Anyway, Paddock, booked his room for the Mandalay Bay. This was September 9th. So in the timeline is interesting within this because you have September 12th to the 14th. So after he actually booked that room at the Mandalay Bay, he stayed at the Tropicana. So he stays at the Tropicana, and then somewhere in this, they mentioned that the FBI wants to talk to a guy because they want to figure out what Paddock's reaction was when they refused him room 2112 at the Tropicana during the time of the shooting. So supposedly, Paddock tried to rent 2112 during the time of the shooting. Now I think that's very, very important. The timing would be very, very important, but we don't have that. We're probably not going to have that for a while. We don't know when we're going to have that, if we're ever going to have that. But it is interesting because it calls into question all kinds of shit. And I think that's where you were going with a lot of that. I think that's what you were talking about when you were talking about this. And like I said, I think our heads are in the same place as far as that goes. And a lot of other people, when I asked this question to them, they just kind of like eyes glazed over and just gave up on it. But the deal is, this guy, he booked the room at the Mandalay Bay on the September 9th. Okay, so it looks like, he's planning this shit on September 9th. He was planning on doing it from the Mandalay Bay on September 9th. But then he stays at the Tropicana from the 12th to the 14th. And then somewhere along the line, he decides to ask for the room 2112 within the Tropicana, which, there is a video out there. And shit, man, I don't have it up on this right now. Let me see if I can even kind of lead you to it. If I can find out what it is. Let's see. Tropicana Hotel Room Review, Las Vegas 2021. Looks like a little cholo dude. Let's see if I can figure out how to even get it to play. Oh man, this guy's got well, I'll try to put it in the notes. I'll try to put it, I'll leave a comment with it. I'll leave a link in a comment. And you can see the room view, right? So the room view that I got is at least this particular video I'm watching. This guy's in I believe it's room 1912 in the Tropicana. Well, it's interesting because Tropicana windows open, but they only open part way. They don't open all the way. But when this guy looks out his window, Tropicana is to the venue is slightly to the left and right out that fucking window. So it would have been the perfect, well, I hate to say fucking that word because it's a poor choice of words for what happened, but for what he was about to do, it would have worked. It would have worked. And so calls into question a lot of things, right? I believe that's what you were trying to lead to there. Is when did he decide to book that room? What was going on here, right? So the obvious conclusion I would come up with is that on the 27th, when he asked for the 200 wing, he said, fuck this 135. I don't like this room. I want the 200 motherfucking wing. And the only difference between really like even the 200 wing, which we've seen in the past, and the Tropicana aims right down the center of that venue. right dead center. So anything he's firing down range is, I mean, even if the bullet starts straying and he starts, the gun starts kicking up and stuff like that, everything's going to go land within that venue. And I believe the 200 wing is fairly similar, not exact, but it's fairly similar. 135 is basically shooting directly across that venue, right? So he had a uh, smaller area, of fire. But it turns out it didn't really fucking matter, right? Didn't matter. He did enough damage. He did a shit ton of fucking damage. If you consider how many people he actually hit with bullets, man, he did a shit ton of fucking damage. That shit was crazy. But I mean, and it's hard to say whether he would have done more or would have done less from a further firing position, slightly further firing position. That was aiming straight down the venue, and definitely from Tropicana, you're not going to hit you're probably not going to be aiming for the VIP necessarily or anything like that. He would have been looking straight into the eyes of Jason Aldean, though, which is kind of creepy and scary to imagine. But the timing is interesting. Like I said, he books a room in Mandalay Bay on the 9th of September. Okay, he's going to do it from the Mandalay Bay, obviously. At that point, that's what you would conclude from that. But then he stays at Tropicana from the 12th to the 14th. And then somewhere in this frame of events between, I would say probably between the 12th and 14th and the 1st, he decided he wanted to get this room at the Tropicana. And they told him no. They told him no because it was unavailable. Why was it unavailable, right? This guy's a high roller. And that's not even one of the, I don't believe. Now, I haven't found that room. I haven't found a tour of that exact room, so I don't know for sure, but it's not on the top floor. So it's not one of the major suites, right? So they're not going to sit here and say, well, no, that's something we hold for the high rollers. No, it looks like, 1912 is just a regular fucking room. I believe, I forget what the room number was, what the floor was that had the suites, because the suites are fairly nice up in that place. But the thing is, why is that room unavailable? Like, why is it unavailable to this guy? This guy dumped $38,000. That's also in this report. I don't know if you caught that part of it. This guy also dumped $38,000 into the Tropicana from 12th to 14th. Why did he drop $38,000? I don't know. Did he need his comps fucking up there? Did he need to spend some money in this place so he could ensure that he would have access to a room later? And then why did he not have that access to that room? The only thing I can think of that makes sense to me is for, I guess anybody listening to this, y'all can hear my theories on this. And if you didn't listen to what I said in Truth Seeker, this is basically the exact same thing I said on her live stream the other night, which I don't think people are too happy about because her audience is not very friendly to me. So but the thing is, why was it not available, right? This guy just spent $38,000 in your casino. He just dumped a bunch of money on you. It should be available, right? Well, the only thing I can think of is it's not available because somebody's already staying there. And that would be possible if the guy was trying to run in on, like I said, the 27th, which was, according to the report, which we don't have anything to back that up other than the damn timeline, which according to that timeline, 27th was the day, I believe it's 27th. I'm pretty sure it's 27th, was the day when in the timeline where they say he asked for the 200 wing, basically 200 to 130 or 232, 235 or whatever the fuck. And, and maybe they would obviously, Mandalay Bay didn't give that to him. So, at that point, it's possible that could be the timing when, he called Tropicana and said, hey, I want this fucking room. And that would come out in like cell phone records. It would come out in a lot of things, right? Cell phone records, casino host statements, all that sort of stuff. The statement of the guy who talked to this dude, because this FOIA, what that is, that's the FBI basically sending a letter to the Tropicana saying, we want to talk to this guy, talk to Stephen Paddock, because we want to know what Stephen Paddock, what his attitude was, what his demeanor was, right? So if we ever do get that actual statement, then that would also, be the evidence of what the time frame is here for this. But the time frame is actually, I think, important, right? Because the time frame basically tells us, was this meant to be a Tropicana shooting, or was this meant to be a Mandalay Bay shooting? At this point, I would say, he went to the Mandalay Bay. Originally, it was planned out for the Mandalay Bay. He didn't like the room they gave him. They wouldn't give him the room he wanted. So this guy decided he was going to try and get his room at the Tropicana. He already scoped that out earlier in the month. He wanted that, and they wouldn't give it to him because it was already booked up. Couldn't have it. That makes more sense to me. The conspiracy side of it is, of course, there's all kinds of directions the conspiracy side of this could go. But, one thing that I could say is, it's possible that, and this was, like I said, this is the timing issue is, if he called him, like, let's say on the 20th and said, I want that room. And, Tropicana said, nah, fuck you. We don't want you here. It's possible that they thought there was something sketchy about this guy. It's possible they were mad at him and they didn't want to deal with him. I don't know why you'd be mad at somebody when they just dumped $38,000 into your casino. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, right? It's possible they thought something was sketchy, something was wrong with this fucking guy, and they're like, nah, we just ain't giving you that room. But I lean towards the other, I'm guessing that it's going to probably come out eventually. I'm speculating that it's probably going to come out later saying that, he tried to get that room, while he was at the Mandalay Bay because he wasn't happy with the room that he had at the Mandalay Bay. That's what I'm guessing, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, so just a little reaction here. Like I said, I'm kind of cleaning up on Vegas, man. I'm about done with this shit. I'm really about done with this shit. So, there's a little response for you, man. I'll link this in your comments there, and you can check it out. Have a good day, and stay safe out there to everyone who listens.